Okay, inshallah. Give it your best. Give it your best shot. Okay, welcome everyone. Ms. Lara, Ms. Niaz, Mr. Bura. And we were discussing about one thing that I'm going to give it 1 minute, then hear your thoughts, then we'll move on, okay? And this is the idea of the critique of modern science as being too abstractory. That is, it is sort of lost in abstractions and has gotten away from the intimate experience of experience, you see? And as I was saying, sometimes or mostly modern science is critiqued to be confusing the map for the territory. They think the map, which is the whole compendium of descriptions and models and theories that we have in physics, biology, chemistry, and their intermingling of theories, right? These are all descriptions. These are all models, and these models are describing something, okay? And sometimes they come to a point where these abstractions that we have made in language, okay, modern science thinks that these descriptions are nature itself, okay? And Alfred North Whitehead, Muhammad Iqbal, quantum physics in general, from 1920s, the idea of the world or nature as being mechanistic, being as a machine, like going, exploring in a vast, space, and everything is in a state of locomotion, and ultimately everything is, it is an enclosed system of cause and effect. The universe as being static is rejected. Okay, so the description that the universe static is rejected by the dawn of the early 20th century, and the universe from then is seen as an organism, so to speak, as in a continual state of change. And I think, yeah, I mean, something it is the map. We can never take the quantitative descriptions. Okay, you can quantitatively describe me. I have how many bones, how many organs, right? You can put mathematical models to explain mathematically my body, the movement, the inertia, and other physical quantitative number aspects of me. And they try to get from this abstraction the things about us that precedes any theory, it comes before any theory, and they try to get these qualitative qualities or qualia or first person experience, introspection from these descriptions. That is why we have the hard problem of consciousness. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this term, the hard problem of consciousness. How a dead matter or matter itself that is defined as, non-relational, that is defined as inert, static, how that, the brain, which is giving rise to qualitative experience. But the idea is it is a logical implication of materialism or physicalism, to be more precise. That they've taken the description and they think, we want to take the consciousness out of this description. They want to take the territory out of the map. You cannot do that. You cannot take Sulaimania as a city that has more details from the map of Sulaimania. You make a map of Sulaimania, okay? You make the theories from experience, then you try to take Sulaimania from the map. This is what I was trying to say. Concreteness is the city, Sulaimania, concreteness. Abstraction is the description of the city. Is it clear? Is it making sense?
Yes, sure, Masa Ahmed. Like you're talking about the irreducibility of
of experience.
phenomena.
Of experience. Like, for example,
Not
of
all
experience of phenomena.
experiences.
Of experience of phenomenon. Okay, this is a phenomenon. Okay, this mobile phone, right? I know phenomenon. Okay, so the physical properties of it. I mean, it is a rectangle. It has height, right? It has, I don't know, all the other physical characteristics of it. They come into my experience in order for it to be understood. Experience precedes, so it must jump into consciousness, into the mind, into the sphere of non-matter in order for this matter to be comprehended. You see what I mean? So it is matter depending on consciousness and not consciousness depending on matter. That's where modern science is getting it wrong, I would say.
And you're probably saying that the experience is a higher form of knowledge.
Knowledge or theories precedes from experience. Experience is a raw, and sometimes the theories are going farther away. They're making many postulates. They're getting away from the Occam's razor because of the mistake. They don't want to look at the world as a consciousness-filled reality, I would say. That everything is coming from everything to be comprehended. This is analytical idealism in a nutshell that I took a 30 hours course from it, which is a summary of all the great mystic traditions from Islam, from Buddhism, from Christianity, that is formulated into a body of knowledge to be understood by modern people. And that is the deepest critique of materialism I've come so far, because it's very intuitive. Once you get through this and try to experience it yourself, it's going to change a lot about the shortcomings of a purely materialistic account of the most primary thing in nature, which is consciousness. And then,
Um, can I give an example? Like
sure,
I
sure.
also took a course from John Searle.
Yeah, he passed away yesterday.
Really?
My God.
Oh God.
He was very influential. He has a course on consciousness, I guess, on YouTube, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, he has a very like 82 something lecture.
Yes.
He talks about the reducibility and irreducibility of phenomenons, and he talks about levels of description. What I got from your explanation is that you took like experience as a higher form. I'm not saying like it's the same as the explanatory and conceptualization of the thing, but you're taking the experience as a higher form of knowledge. You already call it a knowledge, right?
I would say it is where knowledge is understood and where knowledge is comprehended. It is the experience, I would say, is interacting with knowledge. And in this experience, you become one with the object, which anything you study. So there's no distinction between subject and object, when the experience of a person is going to be elevated to a level where the distinction of subject and object is going to be diminished. I'm the subject, this is object. Okay.
Okay.
There's a distinction between us, but there comes to a point in the mystical traditions whereby right rituals of purification and other means that is put at place that you have to experience them in order for you to be at one with nature. I mean, Badiouzzamane Sayyid Nursi, before he died, he says in his autobiography, he says, I am praying, and right now I feel that I'm connected to every single particle of the whole universe. I feel my soul is now at one with the whole being, with the whole universe. He said, this is my experience.
It's very subjective.
It's very subjective, but it's a good challenge for me. When I look at it, I want to, just like Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas came up with the arguments for God's existence, cosmological argument. In his Summa Theologica, 2,000 pages. And he says, the spiritual intuition that I got from encountering with the divine, I encountered the divine, and at that instant, everything seemed in its place, and it was more worthy than all of my intellectual teachings and lecturing at university. This instance was more certain than any of that I did through using these other things. He didn't reject them. He said this is of a higher nature.
I see. Um, uh, John Searle in his lectures
Okay,
like
go
give an
ahead.
example of rainbows.
Okay.
Like, can rainbows be reduced to like a mechanistic explanation? Like, uh, he says like it's an illusion that we see. There is no arch in the sky,
Yeah.
and he says
Okay.
it is reduced to like the rays being reflected.
Mhm. I see, I
But
see, I see.
But then he talks about consciousness. He said that it's irreducible. You cannot reduce consciousness to the neuronal actions. It's
Mm.
just different levels of description.
It's not even description, I would say. Consciousness is descriptions are coming from it. It's way deeper than description. This is my understanding, but this is also is a good counter to the consciousness being reducible to neurochemical reactions of the brain. So
Yes, yes, it's a better version
yeah,
of.
yeah, I would say. And I was going to Oman 4 months ago. Okay, and in the airplane, I took a book of Edwin Schrödinger. I don't know if you've heard of the Schrödinger cat or not.
Yes, yes, I've heard.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, is the cat in the, does it exist and not exist at the same time? So it's talking about the quantum states. But this is not saying this is a possibility. It says it's an impossibility for logic, for a thing to be and not be at the same time. And Schrödinger has a lot to say about modern science. And he was a quantum physicist. If you know Schrödinger, he was no joke. And he actually said, when we look at the moon, okay, uh, actually, when we see the colors itself, the moon being white or the colors we're seeing, like this color that I'm seeing, I don't know, I'm a bit terrible with colors, but let's say this is brownish, okay? I think the ladies here can better detect it, but let's say for the sake of the argument, this is brownish. I'm brown, aren't you?
Khaki.
والله ما كعكيش خاكي ما بلاين خاكيك براون اما يعني خوي ويفلنتك خوي هي يعني you can measure the frequency of it بيجي باشا هاي قاوي كذا تقول بس ما شباب من بيجي خاكي اما frequency خوي هي physically okay but the experience of the color is not the frequency of it so the frequency and the description is coming out after the experience of it. You see? So in order to comprehend blueness, khaki-ness, bedginess, wetness, dryness, hotness, coldness, these are not particulars in nature. They're not found in nature. The color of it, the experience of the color, okay? The bedginess, the khaki-ness is a quality of the mind. It is not an illusion. If you think the mind doesn't have any categories, you think it's an illusion. The color is an illusion. But if you are a rationalist on the Kantian tradition, you have categories that are put there that enable the color to be comprehended within you that is not quantitative. Although it has a quantitative aspect to it, but it is a description. In itself, the color is experienced and felt within us, within consciousness. So it depends on consciousness, the color of it. So it's not physical.
You're saying the color of it when we perceive it at that level, it adds up to the knowledge as a qualitative.
Yeah, the qualitative data. The qualitative data is not in nature. It is within us when we interact with it. I mean, if I'm not in this room, nobody's read through. Does this have an independent reality? I mean, in my understanding and in the understanding of non-contextuality of physics, quantum physics is one of the freshest theories, and in mystical traditions as well. This does not have an independent reality apart from my consciousness observing it. If I'm not here, this is there, but not as physicality. Physicality only comes into being when, as a conscious agent, I'm interacting with it.
You're saying the color that you perceive is like dependent on your experience?
Not only the color, even the physicality of it, the circularishness, okay? The feel of heart. Is it hard, right? This is like a rock, right? This feeling that is hard, it is dependent on my conscious experience of it. So the conscious experience is within there that it feels the hardness. Otherwise, it's not there. It has a mental reality. Physicality itself is dependent on consciousness.
Would you say I have a different experience when I see that cup of tea?
We are coming from the same origin. I mean, the individual dissociated orders that we call alters or different consciousnesses, your consciousness, Mr. Pura, Ms. Ladders, they're all coming from the same, like ocean. Let's say in the ocean, there are whirlpools, if you have seen them, different whirlpools that have their own dissociative boundaries. Whirlpool كده أنا ocean whirlpool. Okay. Seven consciousnesses يعزاني إما باشا. We're all in the ocean of the universal consciousness, or I would say the breath of God that has put us there, our actual essence. And our differences are of an illusory nature. Okay. Otherwise, we're all on the same plane. And it is not ours. I mean, if you're a whirlpool in an ocean, the whirlpool is not yours. You have the illusion that it is your whirlpool. This is my boundary. But this is actually not yours. We're from God and we're going to return to God. See?
I see where you're coming from.
You can delve more onto that in the article on AI and consciousness. So we're going to come back to that and hear your thoughts as well more. Okay, so let me give you back the floor. Sorry for talking a little bit longer. I'm gonna ask Mr. Barad to read this highlighted part.
Oh, the Quranic perspective makes us rethink our assumptions about the sacred and mundane. Faith is not blind or disconnected from how we understand the universe. Modern science may help us discern patterns, make sound predictions, and make use of nature, but it is not a tool to understand the world due to its naturalistic and materialistic limitations.
Okay.
The breakthrough of the Quran is to show us how the universe itself is scripture, expressing meaningful message about its eternal maker.
Yeah, it is a verse in the Quran. Everything is ayats pointed to God. So it's like a Quran writ large. The big Quran is the universe. Okay, so we have mundane. What does mundane mean?
Mundane, a kind of something that is ordinary or something that is you
Yes.
find it boring,
Yeah.
something
Boring.
that's repeated.
Repetitive,
Yeah.
boring, dull, monotonous.
Yeah.
These are all meanings of mundane. Sacred latapiros. And it has like it's like holy. And profane is the opposite of sacred. Profane, something unholy. I think if you look at technology, which is a direct offspring of modern science, okay, or one of the implications of it existed. I mean, technology existed before modern science. Modern science intensified it. I think it doesn't look at nature from a sacred perspective. I mean, sometimes certain scholars in the past, they would not kill other animals, thinking that these animals are praising God in their own tongue. Let us not disturb their prayer. But do you think when you have big corporations, you're going to think about that at all? Like nature is to be exploited, is to be used for our desires, and the desires are infinitely wanting until the soil of the grave is going to quench you, as the Prophet Muhammad said. Okay. Sustenance. Let me ask this to Ms. Nias. Tell us about the meanings of sustenance. Sustenance.
I'm just guessing. The sustain is from the verb sustain.
Yes, yes. So from sustain. Close.
Like provide a continuous of something.
Continuous supplies. رزق.
Yes, yes.
رزق. الناس كسان خلقي كلاربن كلارب بجرجابن جرج بيعمل رزق. اوكي.
Oh.
بيعمل رزق جاء أودو شيء زور بيسيد وكان سرتا تشتكي عم بيني أيوة رزقي ليه بيعمل عسايد عمر رزق يعني رزقي ليه وكل دايد ثم زمان باسينا كا. Okay. Sustenance وقتها رزق. Supply.
Mr. Ahmed,
Food and
can't we say بجيري in Kurdish too? Something that
بجيري
is
بس
for
بجيري بس كده لا بجيري هالشيء يعني بارجوية طبعا اللي قايد ولا بارو نادي طبعا نري nutritional oxygenal أو conditioning كبيس هذا. Okay.
عفوا ماما أحمد mundane بمعنى الدنيا يجري يعني
والله هي mundane زيادة ما تكشنيكي هاشتag mundane بإيشك mundane بإيشك boring طلع دنيا profane secular أما أنا زيادة الدنيا بكان profane secular worldly.
ده صار
شكل بيا وكوا أبي بدنيا ما نايبة تيجي شكله هنا ثانية sacred and mundane. Okay. Inanimate Miss Nias I'm sure ما بيغلى وعني تريش.
Inanimate means like something that doesn't leave, like some rocks.
Yes, they don't have the 7 characteristics of movement, of irritability, of being triggered by external conditions, right?
Even Richard Swinburne has a distinction between personal explanation and inanimate explanation.
Okay.
I heard that word from him. Like inanimate means like the mechanistic explanation.
It doesn't have anima like life.
Yes.
And Tolstoy says, as he was very into jealousy and pride, he says, I was writing and I was the best writer. Pride was taking me and I saw the world as being dead. Interestingly, he says it. And he says, the more I was trying to submit to God in his religious writing, he says, the world became animate, from inanimacy to animus.
That's very nice.
That's very nice. I mean, his confessions is second to none. Okay, existence, obviously. What do you think of existence?
Boon.
Okay, existence. And I'm reading a theory from Hinduism that's about emptiness. Like nothing has inherent existence because everything is in a continual state of dependency. Like for a tree to grow is dependent on, I don't know, the soil. It's not only the soil, it's the rain, and the rain itself is dependent on other things. So everything is in a continual state of dependency. Therefore, nothing receives their own existence from it themselves. It's called the continual state of emptiness and poverty. Just you can look it up and follow. It's very interesting. It's a Hinduism. I'll send an article for anyone, any of you who's interested.
We'd love to see that once, Ahmed. Please send us.
Sure, I'll send it. Sure. Okay, Ms. Lara, read. Tell us about the meanings of these words.
Enmeshed means deeply involved.
Excellent. Deeply involved. Transience
Transience.
is
just
the
forgot it.
opposite of eternal.
Temporary.
Temporary,
Catty.
yes. Catty.
Vexing question is
Impermanence.
annoying,
Yes.
annoying, boring question.
Yes.
Like
Okay. Abundance.
abundance is وبلاي komalaştık yani nazan şu an.
Doğru zabandayım.
Desteştek.
Doğru. Zor
Unlike
bir.
with them.
Abundant. Destek zor. Destek
بالضبط.
herkes zor.
زر.
Engulfs.
Engulfs يعني بلاي قدان دوري
بلى.
اشتكي بدي.
بلى.
Haunted يعني داقر كراو يعني نازن.
Okay.
بالضبط.
We feel haunted. Like it's all around us. Okay. Life is decaying. Your face after a few years is going to decay. Things, flowers, everything is in a continual state of decay. So it's gonna haunt us. Okay. And then would you mind read that as well and then hear your thoughts, everyone? Go ahead. Ms. Lara, continue.
Okay. Science on its own does not offer us an understanding or an explanation for such questions and enigmas. In fact, modern science is often used to claim that the universe is governed by impersonal laws and unconscious natural factors that possess no knowledge or compassion.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Niaz, Ms. Lara, yourself, Mr. Barak, where are your thoughts? Okay, modern science look at the laws, gravity, the strong and weak nuclear forces, other laws, as impersonal. They're not personal. They don't care about you. How does Islam look at laws? The laws in nature. How does the Quran, to be more specific?
I think as far as I've studied Quran, is that like God uses these laws as a symbol, just like you said. They're like signs and symbols to his being. And sometimes like for example, like you use fire to burn things. But then he uses fire in another example when he puts Ibrahim into a fire and he doesn't let the fire burn him. So God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah,
Like he uses
Sunnatullah in the Quran, Sunnah al-Kawni. There are certain paths of the universe that God says, I don't change it for anybody.
But
Sunnah
like
al-Kawni.
what happened to Ibrahim when he was put in fire?
I mean, this tells us, Imam Ghazali, when he read the story of Abraham put in the fire and doesn't burn, his realization was, do you know what was it? It was the starting point of occasionalism in Islam, which is cause and
But
effect. Yes, exactly. So it's very interesting that things is all an occasion. Okay, so when I touch something and it gives me heat, it's not like this caused my finger to be burned. This was an occasion for God to create the heatness, the hotness there and to burn, to create the burning right there. So it's a continual hand of God in synthesizing the cause and effect. So it's telling us that all what we're calling cause and effect, okay, it is within God's continual care and providence, and there is no direct cause and effect. And cause is not preceded from the effect. So it's not like cause comes, then after an interval comes the effect. Actually, it is simultaneous if you think about it. Simultaneously, God creates. Like,
They also reject the idea that even it's the fire that causes burn, and also God also plays a role in it. They say this is like an incompletion view of God. So it's just God, not
do you
the
know?
fire.
Yeah. Do you know Ibn Sina? What did he say? Ibn Sina said, God has put his laws in fire so that it burns. You see what I mean? So it's burning because God has put the law there. But they have gone a step towards unity of God is only real. Nothing has agency. I would think if Imam Ghazali was alive, he might have said, I was just trying to make the case that nothing receives their agency and effect from themselves. It's all from God too. You see what I mean?
Yes, I see.
Ingenious, no matter how ingenious, Mr. Burrard, what do you think it is? Ingenious, if something is ingenious.
Did you ask me, Mr. Ahmed?
Yeah, I asked you.
Okay, sorry. Ingenious, something that's really, how should I say, profound or creative.
Creative, yeah,
And
sure.
something that's smart, clever.
Yeah,
something that's authentic.
Yes, ingenious. Excellent. What about utility? It provides utility.
Utility, I think it's a kind of very essential things that we need for our life, like, for instance, water, food, or electricity.
Yeah, it's like usage.
Yeah, these things. Yeah, exactly.
Utilize means using. Excellent. Okay,
read so Ahmed, I'm so sorry.
Sure.
I have a question about the word ingenious.
Okay.
Like it means genius, right? But the but the in like gives it an opposite.
No, there is not. It's not opposite. It's interesting because it's not opposite. Like just look it up. Look, clever, original, and inventive. There, interestingly, this prefix is not like it does not make it given an opposite meaning here. One of the exceptions of English language, yes. Ingenuity means cleverness. It is like genuity or geniusness on steroids, so to speak.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Mr.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's completely fine. Mr. Barra, read it, please.
What is the difference between ingenious and indigenous?
Indigenous mean people from there. I think indigenous people are people who are originally from a place. Indigenous. Okay, within the remaining 10 minutes, we don't have much left. Let's go through the paragraph so that we finish the essay. Go ahead, Mr. Barra, go ahead.
Okay. According to the Quran, the universe is speaking. It is a collection of signs pointing beyond the flux of this finite world to an infinite source of power and beauty. A flower that blossoms and withers away carries a message through its burst into life, its orderly structure, its beauty, and its death. It is talking about the eternal maker, the source of life, power, and beauty. The universe is speaking of the one who speaks through scripture.
Okay. So it's very interesting. But Samantha University said everything in their potentiality, even if they don't come to the world. Sometimes we say a butterfly comes and lives and withers away. What is the point? And his spiritual intuition informs us that even the potentiality that God is choosing you in the act of kun fayakun, be and it is. Okay? This itself is meaningful if you're still in the queue to come into existence. So it's a blessing as opposed to be a curse. Like, why am I here in this world of suffering? Depending on the state of the soul, to be honest. If you reject and not submit, then of course you're right. Why are you here? You might as well just use euthanasia and end it all if you're completely honest to the logical implication of a world without God.
Absolutely. And that's why Viktor Frankl, actually, in its book, Man's Search for Meaning, he mentions it actually vividly that Actually, to live is to suffer, and to survive is to find meaning in that suffering. And
Yeah.
it's really a profound thing, I think, related to this.
Yeah, sure. And
this
an imperishable meaning, not a worldly meaning. I would say if a meaning is attached to anything that would come to an end at the death of you or the death of humanity, that is still not justified, I would say. That's my thing. Okay, Miss
yeah, exactly.
Nias, go ahead, read that from an important Arabic text. This is Badiou Zaman Said Nursi's um, analogy that he's using. Go ahead.
An important Arabic text that was written in beautiful calligraphy with precise jewelry. One contestant is an expert chemist and an engineer who does not know any Arabic and does not even realize that this is a text. He focuses on analyzing the chemistry of the paper, the ink, and the shapes and patterns on the page. The other man, who is familiar with Arabic, recognizes that it's an extremely important text and writes a report explaining its profound meanings. When the two bring their work before the king, he sees that the first man has worked very hard but missed the entire point. Thus, the king rebukes him for demeaning a profound text by reducing it to meaningless shapes.
What do you understand by the profound text?
Um, the profound text, the scripture, no,
No.
the
Look,
world.
yeah, the world, yeah, universe. Like that's what science says. In Iqbal's reconstruction of religious thought, he uses the analogy or the imagery of a vulture. Vulture. He says each science is never going to give us a complete theory of everything because science is sectional. It's like each branches of modern science that have taken everything sacred from nature as vultures taking pieces from a dead corpse. You see?
I see.
That's very powerful imagery that I read. Oh, wow. I mean, he's trying to convey something 100 years ago. Okay, Miss Lara, go ahead, read that. Behold.
Behold, in the heavens as well as on earth, there are indeed signs for all who are willing to believe, and in your own nature, and in all of and in all the animals which he scatters over the earth, there are signs for people who are endowed with inner certainty, and in the succession of night and day, and in the means of subsistence which God sends down from the skies, giving life thereby to the earth after it had been lifeless, and in the change of the winds. These signs of God do we convey unto you, setting forth the truth. In what other tiding, if not in God's signs, will they then believe?
Okay, so he's using all of these things in nature as God's signs in the Quran. And he says also that it is God that has subjected the moon and the sun. Like when the Quran talks about science, it doesn't try to give a complete description of the physical world. It says, okay, come on, you're going to study the suns and the moons, be it good for you, but don't know that I have subjected them. So it's coming from him. He said, don't forget me, so to speak. Otherwise, you're going to pay the cost of living away from God, which is sometimes is called hell, which is living away from God's presence. Ms. Niaz, read the other paragraph.
These verses ask us to recognize how nature points to its creator by drawing attention to how things often display qualities beyond their capacity. For example, with rain, lifeless earth springs to life. Superficially and without divine guidance, we tend to misinterpret the fact that rain and life consistently accompany each other, and we think that rain is the cause of life. So this is the
And
Ibrahim.
Go ahead.
I'm saying this is really talks about the thing that I was
Yeah.
saying about the Ibrahim being put
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes a little cause is seemingly given way to a huge effect. I mean, if it is within, I mean, if it's say the seed itself is bringing the tree, I mean, the seed itself, it has a life history of a tree, so to speak. It's like put it over there. It becomes an orange tree or another form of tree. And for this huge tree coming from the seed, it's like it's not enough from only the seed or from the conditions, but the conditions are also dependent on other conditions. So it's just given intellectual intuition to these natural happenings and phenomena is going to actually bring us closer to God. So in Islam, it's not it is not a curse. Nature is not a curse. In Christianity, they have looked at nature as the cause for having man to be fallen, so to speak. They're not as spiritually endowed to look at nature. But in the Quran, I mean, nature has a very high place as a spiritual arena for us to be more elevated towards spiritual realms. Okay. So what are your thoughts? We have 2 minutes left. Anything? Something you want to add?
I'm just not satisfied with the way they're saying that the whole universe signifies and like glorifies. It doesn't like, I don't know,
Sure,
maybe I'm
yeah.
not in that place
Mm.
for it to click to me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I see the struggle.
But nonetheless, like psychology plays a role here. Like the writer talks about intention.
Yeah, sure.
Intention, like
Intentions.
she's saying, like if you intend to see something, you will see it. Like if you intend to see life as meaningless, you see it meaningless. But nonetheless, it's the same case for when you're saying if you intended to see it in a meaningful way, you would see it in a meaningful way. It's a circular reasoning.
I think the data is there, and it is our metaphysics. Whether it is a physicalist metaphysics, it is still a manifestation of the state of the soul. And if it is, a religious metaphysics that is spiritually guiding science, is going to be, all things considered, safer to humanity, I would say. And even if
Safer?
you're safer to humanity, obviously, because I mean, the Ottoman Empire didn't create bombs because they thought this is going to create lots of mayhem for the natural world and for humanity. That's why the other countries took over. You see what I mean? If you read the historical text, one of the reasons was that. So I would say it's safer to spiritually ground science.
So you're preferring Ottoman Empire?
Not Ottoman, I'm a spiritual understanding. They lacked behind because they had a spiritual